Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and a privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here and every day on the John Campea Show, our main movie news show in the mornings. We save a little bit of time for some live questions, but here on Open Mic, that's all we do is take live open mic questions, so I'm glad you're here joining us today. All right, without any further ado, let's dive into it. What do we got here? All right. And the first question we've got today here comes us from ZOMG Ruler, who writes, watched Up for the first time, really good movie. You know what? It's funny. Up was, I think, the first, it was either Up or Pixar, but I remember, or Up or Wall-E, and I remember thinking this for both of them, and I can't remember which one came first, but I remember seeing the trailers for Up and thinking, this is probably going to be one of the first Pixar films I don't like. And then you go to see it, and number one, you realize, oh yeah, this would have been a really tough one. Like, I don't know how you make good, compelling trailers for Up. I mean, it's a tricky one to make good trailers for. But, oh God, I love that movie. Like, everybody who watches Up is crying in the first 5 minutes, right? When they do that big whole long thing without even any dialogue. It's just a silent montage they do. And it's so moving and so powerful and so incredible. But yes, ZOMG, Up is an incredible movie. Alexander Helmer writes, saw Warrior, not a fan of MMA, but the movie was awesome. Yep, you're damn right it's awesome. You got Nick Nolte in there, who's great. You got Tom Hardy in there. And why am I forgetting the name of the dude? Oh, gosh. I'm forgetting the name of the lead guy. And I'm embarrassed, but I love the actor too. It's Joel Edgerton. It was the movie that for me made me go, oh my God, this Joel Edgerton dude can really act. Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy were so good playing off each other in that, and it's a really great movie. And I am an MMA fan, so I had that going for me. But I remember telling all my friends, you don't need to be a fan of MMA to enjoy Warrior. Warrior's great. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it. And yeah, I love that movie. I'm glad you had a chance to watch it, Alexander, because it's fantastic. Okay, let's move on here. Maya Demi writes, first Infinity War trailer about to cross 200 million views on YouTube. I honestly, how many views a trailer gets on YouTube is kind of irrelevant, to be honest. I never really look at, I mean, it's an interesting stat, right? It's an interesting number. Clearly not everybody who watched the trailer went to see the movie, but I mean, it's, and there's other places that trailers are viewed, and it doesn't really mean anything per se. So per se, I don't pay a lot of attention, but it is an interesting note. I mean, it is an interesting note that's about to cross 200 million views. Let's see. Hector Jeter writes, John, you skipped my super chat this morning. I'm not sure that I did, but the question before the one you answered, I said you should wear the dino hat on your shows from now on. Oh, you know, where is the dino? Oh, no, Anne took it back. That's funny. That hat is actually Anne's. She bought that hat. For those of you who don't know what Hector's talking about, at the beginning and on the thumbnail of my Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review, I'm wearing this Velociraptor hat. And if I'm not mistaken, Anne bought that hat the night we went to go see the first Jurassic World movie a couple of years ago. And we saw it at downtown Disney. We were at Disneyland, and in downtown Disney, there's an AMC theater. And we went and watched the movie there. And I believe Anne bought that hat to wear into the movie. And she's had it ever since. And so when I told her I was going to go watch Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, she says, here, you should wear my hat. And it was a press screening. I'm not going to wear cosplay stuff or costumes to a press screening. But she said, you should wear my hat. And I totally forgot about it. But then I thought, but you know what? I will wear it for a bit of my review. I thought that would be fun. So that's where the hat came from. Zombitron5678 writes, which movie had the best surprise appearance? Deadpool 2, Infinity War, or Solo? Definitely was a year of jaw-dropping surprises. Best surprise appearance, Infinity War? I don't even know who the surprise appearance in Infinity War would have been. So I'm going to take Infinity War out because I can't even think off the top of my head who a surprise appearance was. Deadpool 2, for those of you who've seen the movie, we know who the big surprise appearance is, which was great. and Solo. I'm going to go Solo. I think Solo, because with the Deadpool 2 one, you knew something big was coming because they allude to it throughout the movie, that there's this beast, right? This monster that lives in the basement of the prison. So they kept alluding, so you knew something was coming. The Solo one was a little bit more out of left field. Because while Dryden says at one point, "You know who I answer to," that was one line, right? So the surprise, and I'm not going to say who it is, but the surprise appearance at the end of Solo, that's one that knocked my... It's funny, because I like Deadpool 2 more than Solo, and I like Infinity War more than Solo. But I think that surprise appearance was, to me, my favorite surprise appearance we've had so far this year. All right, let's move on here. Bomb Squad writes, "Don't know if I missed you talking about this, but what are your thoughts on the Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer? I loved it, especially the princesses." Yeah, I talked about it on the John Campea show, actually. I liked the trailer. It didn't blow my socks off. See, to me, it didn't even really feel like a trailer. And don't get me wrong, I liked it. I love Wreck-It Ralph, and I cannot wait to see Wreck-It Ralph 2. But it didn't even really feel like a trailer to me. To me, it felt more like two scenes that they just put together and called it a trailer. Because normally a trailer, you don't spend 30 seconds on one scene. And it seemed like they were spending a lot of time in that princess scene and a lot of time in that other scene with Ralph. But I liked it. I mean, I really do like that scene with Vanellope von Schweetz and the Disney princesses. It's a good scene. I like it. I smiled a lot, but just not sure how I felt overall about the trailer. I liked it. Didn't love it yet. Waiting to see, probably they're going to put out one more final trailer at some point, and that'll probably get me more excited. But I did like the princess stuff. I did. I thought that was clever and cute. Let's see. ZOMG Ruler writes, who would you say is a better director, Snyder or Bay? Well, it's tough because, like, Michael Bay has made some really good films that I personally really like. Like, it's funny, me and my buddy were just watching on TV the other day, The Rock was on. I love The Rock. The one with Sean Connery and Nick Cage. I love that movie so much. That movie is awesome. He also directed Armageddon. I like Armageddon. He directed Pain and Gain. I like Pain and Gain. I mean, Michael Bay has directed some good films. He's directed some garbage also along the way. But he has directed some quite good films also along the way. Snyder has also directed some really, like, Man of Steel's in my top 10 favorite comic book films of all time. I really like his little movie, Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. I like that one a lot. Gosh. I'll give the edge to Snyder, but make no mistake, Bay has also made some pretty good films. A lot of people forget, in the midst of all the hate that he gets, deservedly so for some of the garbage that he's put out, Michael Bay's also directed some pretty damn good films. The first Transformers movie, for example, that's another one I forgot about. So, but I'm going to give just the slight edge to Snyder on this, but don't underestimate Bay too awful much. Patrick Conway writes, did you see Dave Bautista respond to Frosty's Joker tweet? No, I don't follow. I only follow like 25 people on Twitter, and Bautista, unfortunately, is not one of them. Let's see. Donaldo Martinez writes, I read a report from Screen Rant saying Dave Bautista is interested in the role of Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War movie. I like the idea. Well, who cares what Dave Bautista is interested in? Every actor in Hollywood is interested in that role. Actors act for a job. They like getting paid. I always talk about this, is that, like, sometimes when websites write, so-and-so says they'd like to be in a Star Wars movie. Well, that's not a story. Every actor would like to, with very, very few exceptions, every actor would like to be in a Star Wars movie. Every actor wants to work. Every actor wants to get paid. Every actor, so this whole notion, I always laugh when I see any website run a story, such and such actor or actress says they'd like to play so-and-so. Hello? In the words of Perry White, in other news, water, wet, Of course they do. So I love Dave Bautista, don't get me wrong, but of course Dave Bautista wants to play that role. Dave Bautista wants to play any leading role in any video game movie ever because he's a working actor who wants the work. Of course he does. So to me, that's not a story. Dave Bautista is interested in Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War. He's interested in Nathan Drake in Uncharted. He's interested. Hell, he'd play Lara Croft in a Tomb Raider thing if you offered him the gig because he's a working actor and of course he wants the work. So to me, that sort of, honestly, Donaldo, to me that stuff's not even a story. It's not even something worth talking about. Let's see. C. Murray for Life writes, have you seen The Old Man and the Gun trailer with Robert Redford? Looks amazing, a character piece and a throwback to the 70s. Can't wait to see it. No, I have not seen it. When did that trailer come out? Because I have not seen that. Hold a second. The Old Man and the Gun trailer. When did that drop? Oh, it just like came out yesterday. Okay, so no, I have not seen it yet. You know what's really weird? The last 48 to 72 hours, the amount, now this isn't a high profile trailer, but the amount of high profile trailers that have hit online just in the last 72 hours is enough to make your head spin. Like, it is crazy how many trailers have dropped in the last 24 hours. You know, it's funny. Somebody once suggested to me a couple of months ago that I should start doing a weekly show just rounding up and talking about all the trailers that came out that week. Just a kind of a summary show about this week in trailers. Here's what came out this week, just for anything that you guys missed. And maybe it's something I should do because more and more trailers are coming out all the time, it seems. So I don't know. Maybe that's something I should consider doing. But no, C. Murray, I haven't seen that trailer yet. But thank you for putting on my radar. I'll need to make sure I get around to watching that. Let's see. Rodrigo Ortiz writes, wait, I'm confused. So is Henry Cavill a villain on MI6? Regardless, I'm so excited to see him in the Mission Impossible franchise. I hope he steals the show. The trailers haven't really made it clear if he's a villain. I'm getting the sense he's not a villain, but you know, he's a government guy and they think that Tom Cruise's character, they probably think Tom Cruise's character is the villain and needs to be brought down and brought in. That's the feeling I get. Because you hear Henry Cavill's line in the trailers, like, how many times has Hunt been disavowed, betrayed, and all this by his own country? How long before a guy like that has had enough? So basically what it sounds like to me, and I'm just speculating here, what it sounds like to me from the trailer is that Cavill's character thinks Tom Cruise's character has gone rogue, pardon the pun, but has gone rogue, has like gone off the rails and is a villain now, and now he's after him. So that makes him the antagonist, but it doesn't necessarily make him the villain. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's the villain, but then again, they're not being very clear about that in the trailer, so it's just left to us to speculate. All right, let's move on to the next one. Luna Comics writes, John, the reason I thought there were no racists and sexists is because I never come across one in my life. Well, I mean, if you're not being sarcastic, and I sense you're being sarcastic, then all I can say is, what a wonderful world you must live in. Because I come across racists and sexists and homophobes and everything every single day. C. Murray for Life writes, I doubt new Joker movie will happen. Warner Brothers has announced about 12 films in the last few years, and most haven't happened so far. Won't believe it until I see it. Oh, well, you are totally forgiven for having that point of view. Like, nobody would fault you at all for deciding to take a wait and see point of view when it comes to Warner Brothers and what films they're going to do. Because you're right. There have been, like, if you go back to all the announcements, all these projects that are happening, and how many of them don't get talked about anymore. So yes, fair enough. It's absolutely fair enough to say we need to take a wait and see look at this. Because right now they say they've got 2 Joker movies coming in 2 different universes. right? So we've got this Jared Leto Joker movie, and we got a Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. So maybe both of them happen, maybe one of them happens, maybe neither of them happen. We are going to have to take a wait and see approach, absolutely so. Don't fault you for thinking that. Like, I do think it's going to happen. I think it's something, just because I believe it's something they've been working on for a while, to be honest with you. I think this is something they've pretty much had on the books probably for the last 6 months. And the news of it is just coming out now. They're just releasing news of it now. But so I do think it's going to happen. But you are absolutely right to adopt a let's wait and see what happens sort of philosophy, because that's just kind of been the track record lately, right? Let's see. Ben Rayner writes, every time I see Henry and Tom fight in the MI6 trailer, I picture on Another Earth that Clark and Tony fighting because Tom was going to play Tony Stark. Yeah, a lot of people forget that before Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise was set up to be Tony Stark in an Iron Man movie. A lot of people don't remember that, but it was. So, yes, you are theoretically in an alternate universe seeing Superman and Iron Man fight. But also don't forget, in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. that starred Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer was supposed to play Batman in Justice League Mortal. And he was lined up to play Batman before they pulled the plug on that. So when you watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. in another universe, you're watching Superman v. Batman fighting it out in a bathroom stall in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. So yes, a lot of people do forget that at one point Tom Cruise was supposed to play Tony Stark. Let's see. Josh Crichton writes, funny and odd question to ask you, John, but since you're from Canada, or this might be, I don't know what WNY is, thing. Do you remember the theme song / commercial for Marineland? Niagara Falls, Ontario. The place to go. Everyone loves Marineland. So yes, I do remember the theme song. I'm not word for word, but I do remember the Marineland thing because I used to hear it all the time as a kid. Everyone loves Marineland. Like, so yeah, I remember that quite vividly. Let's see. Brass Drake writes, after we watching Homecoming, do you think Cap's new shield that Happy was talking about with the Hulkbuster armor is the one we saw in Infinity War? Let me see if I can follow you again here, Brass Drake. After we watching Homecoming, do you think Cap's new shield that Happy was talking about with the Hulkbuster armor is the one we saw in Infinity War? I don't believe we saw a new Captain American shield in Infinity War. And whatever shields that Cap was using in Infinity War were clearly Wakandan. Those were Wakandan. Those were clearly Wakandan shields. But they're made out of vibranium, the same material that his regular shield's made out of. So no, whatever kind of reference there was there, that was not the case. Those were Wakandan shields, because he just turned and says, get this man a shield. So they came up and gave him a couple of shields that look nothing like Captain America shields, but they're vibranium shields, and he's used to fighting with shields. So there you go. So no, and again, I might not even be interpreting your question here properly, but if that's what you're asking, then no, I don't think that had anything to do with anything Hap was talking about in Spider-Man Homecoming. Let's see. Murray Reich writes, Cousin Humper's a Star Wars story. Yep, getting together, hating the black people, the gays, and the women, all while humping their cousins. That would be a great one. Mason Barr writes, seeing the Mr. Rogers film this weekend. I will. To be honest with you, 1 second here. Mr. Rogers movie. Hold a second. Won't You Be My Neighbor is opening this weekend. You know what? I thought it wasn't for another couple of weeks. That's how distracted I've been by everything. I have been distracted by it way too much. So, yes, I'm going to have to make sure I go see that this weekend. I have been dying to see. For those of you who know, it's called Won't You Be My Neighbor. It's a documentary about Mr. Rogers. And the trailer is so good. If you haven't seen it, look up the trailer for Won't You Be My Neighbor. That's the name of the documentary. The trailer is so good, it makes you feel better about humanity. Just the trailer alone makes you feel better about the human race. And it's tough these days to feel better about the human race. There's not a lot these days that's out there that makes us feel better about the human race. This is one of them. And I am dying to see this movie. And I thought it was still a couple of weeks out. So this is another reason I love doing this show, is that you guys put these things back on my radar. I totally forgot that was coming out this weekend. And I'm looking at showtimes right now. I'm going to buy tickets as soon as we're done this. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yes, I'm definitely going to go watch it this weekend. Josh Crichton writes, have you really loved a woman? Brian Adams from Don Juan DeMarcos. Ever really loved a woman? It's a good song. And it rhymes, it goes along a little bit with the Marineland song now that I think about it. Luna Comics writes, John, I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes audience comments and I didn't find any racist sexist posts. Could you show one that you saw? Oh my God. If you didn't find any, then they were deleted. Because I remember, it was one of the things, if you guys remember a while ago, a long time ago, I did a video. It was shortly after The Last Jedi came out. And I did a video titled, We Need to Talk About the Toxic Star Wars Environment, or something like that, right? Hold on a second. And that was spurred by the fact that somebody had said, hey, have you actually read the comments on the Rotten Tomatoes thing? And I said, no. So I went and read, and oh my God, hold on a second here. The amount of racism, sexism, everything, it was unbelievable to me. Like, it was literally unbelievable to me. It was so bad that I almost wanted to cry. Like, seriously, I almost wanted to cry. And it just shook me to my core, like reading all this stuff, thinking actual human beings, or things that pass themselves off as human beings, actually sat down and wrote these things out. Like, actual human beings sat down and wrote these things out. Which I couldn't believe. Like, another human being would actually write things that say stuff like this. And I just remember being completely shaken to my core about it. Now, it is possible that in all that uproar and everything, a lot of people, they may have gone in and deleted a lot of offensive material, which is probably something that they did. But yeah, believe you me, it was all over there. It was all over there. And also believe you me when I say I wish it wasn't, but it was all over the place in there. So yeah, anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts on that. Let's see. Where'd I go? Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you do these shows by yourself. Here we go. Okay. C. Murray for Life writes, you love ice cream, but have you tried the new superhero ice cream? There is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman flavors. How about a taste test and review? Well, I've never heard of it. You'll have to let me know what brand it is. So yes, I am a big major ice cream person. I have a major weakness for ice cream. So there you go. Josh Crichton writes, over under 50%. John will write a fan fiction Star Wars story. No, under 50% on that. Luna Comics writes, John, over under 40% that Bumblebee will be the best Transformers movie. Ooh, well, that's interesting. Because that's not that high of a bar, is it? It's not that high of a bar. I mean, the only movie it really has to compete with, truly, is the first Transformers movie, which I really like. But it's beatable. It's not like the first Transformers movie is Return of the King or anything. I really love the first Transformers movie, but it's certainly beatable. So, in asking over under 40% if Bumblebee can be the best Transformers movie, all it really needs to do is not be horrible garbage, and it's instantly the second best Transformers movie. And if it can be really good, it could be. So you know what? 40 is a low number, so I'll take the over on that. Now, if you had said 60, if you had set the line at 60, I probably would have taken the under. But if you're going to set it as low as 40, I'll go ahead and take the over. I will take over 40% chance that Bumblebee will be the best Transformers movie to date. So I'll go with that one for sure. Okay, let's do this now. ZOMG Ruler writes, Eisenberg, Luthor, or Leto Joker. In my opinion, the Joker's better. I actually appreciated the Lex Luthor that Jesse Eisenberg was doing. Yes, I didn't like the whole shoving the cherry candy in the dude's mouth, fine, but I kind of got where they were going with it, and I appreciated that they were giving us a different Lex Luthor. I appreciated it. But I really liked Leto's Joker. I did. So to me, that's easy. I'm going to go say, I'm going to go ahead and say Leto's Joker. Let's see. C. Murphy for Life writes, it says the John Campea show at the bottom of the screen and not open mic. Yeah, I just stopped using different lower thirds because the John Campea show is my main show. This is really just an open mic extension of what the John Campea show is in the morning. So I just decided to keep using that lower third. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything. But I just decided to keep that as it was. Let's see. Caleb Bradford writes, John, just wanted to let you know that you missed a super chat by John Banks. It was the first one sent. You know what? Sometimes what happens when I load, as you can see, this list that you see here is not what you see on the live stream, right? When you look at the chat live stream, you see all the regular chats and then a super chat in there, and then all regular chats and super chat in there. So this list that gets compiled for me, sometimes I need to reload it a couple of times because sometimes I've had it happen where that's why the first thing I do when the show's over, a little bit behind the scenes stuff, is I have to reload this list once or twice because sometimes one and sometimes two of the first super chats get missed. Now I try to remember when I'm not running late, I go in and I do the reloading of this list a couple times before the show starts, but a lot of times I don't have time to do that. And it gets missed. So you may see that there's a missing super chat or two, but don't worry, whatever it is, it will get caught when I do the reload on this thing, and then I'll be able to use that for whatever one or two. And then I take those and make sure those are put into the companion videos as well. So that's what happens sometimes. For any of you wondering, where's this list come from? It's actually a private URL that YouTube gives me, so I can just see the super chats. But for some reason, like at least 80% of the time, the first one or two aren't included on the list initially, and then when I reload it a couple of times, then it shows. But it's almost like arbitrary the way it happens. So I will double check that, and if there is one up there, it will get used in the companion video. But thank you for pointing that out, Caleb. Luna Comics writes, John, just watched The Great Gatsby, and I think Joel Edgerton would be a great J. Jonah Jameson. Well, I think any good actor, and by the way, Great Gatsby, I didn't think Great Gatsby was like nomination for Best Film of the Year worthy or anything like that. But I thought Great Gatsby was better than it got credit for. Like maybe it wasn't as good as it could have been, but I think it was a better movie than it got credit for. And Joel Edgerton, Leonardo DiCaprio, on and on. Hold on a second. I wonder, The Great Gatsby movie, IMDb. Hold on a second here. Let me just run down who else was in that. Who's the other guy I was thinking of? He's in a bunch of things. Like he was in a Terminator thing. Jason Clarke. I also thought Jason Clarke was really good in it too. Again, not Best Picture nominee worthy or anything like that, but I thought it got undersold a little bit. I thought it was a pretty dang good movie. Let's see here. Murray Reich writes, is the Joker prequel movie actually happening? As far as I know, yes. As far as everything I've seen and that I've heard, yeah, that movie, and it's not a prequel because it's in a different universe. It's not connected to the Joker of the DCEU whatsoever. It is another universe. It's not the DCEU. It's another complete universe they're setting up. So it's not really a prequel. It's really an origin story. It's a Joker origin story. But remember, again, it's in no way connected to the DCEU. It is its own separate universe. From everything I understand, everything's still moving ahead. Like, they haven't started shooting the movie yet or anything, and maybe they'll never get to that point. But as far as I know, they are moving ahead. Everything's steaming along, and they're getting ready to shoot this movie. Whether they actually get to that or not, we'll have to wait and see. But as far as I know, it looks like it's happening. Grandmaster writes, I think Infinity War will make $2,002.90. I think it'll come in a little bit over that. But yeah, like I was saying before, it is... It's weird because after the opening weekend of Infinity War and its second week, I thought that it was going to catch Star Wars The Force Awakens. Looks like that's not going to happen. So it's probably not going to catch Star Wars The Force Awakens. I thought it would, but it doesn't look like it's going to catch that. But yeah, it looks like it's just barely going to crawl over that $2 billion mark. Caleb Bradford writes, John, the surprise appearance of Infinity War. I wish you didn't do that, man. Caleb, that's a spoiler for people. So I apologize to anybody there who hadn't seen the movie yet, but sorry about that. Murray Reich writes, love the Wreck-It Ralph trailer, the princess part. And again, I really do like the princess part. But again, it didn't even really feel like a trailer. It looked like they just took two long scenes, or long parts from scenes, and just put two scenes together and called it a trailer. It didn't even feel like a trailer to me. But yes, the princess part was really funny. I enjoyed it a lot. Murray follows up with, Upgrade was amazing. Love the R-rated Jarvis in his head. And again, everybody is loving it. And I still have not had a chance to see it. And even this week I haven't had a chance because I had to see, what did I see Monday again? What did I see Monday? Oh, I saw Tag on Monday. I saw Jurassic World yesterday. Tonight I got to see Ocean's 8. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally have a chance to see Upgrade because everybody who has seen it is telling me they love it. And I'm sitting here still having not seen it. And that's driving me a little bit crazy. Okay, let's see. Matthew Leach writes, thoughts on Yann Demange's White Boy Rick trailer with Matt McConaughey. I think Demange is a director to keep an eye on. I still haven't watched it. You know, somebody wrote that in yesterday because it had just dropped. But it's just that it dropped in like this window where all these other trailers had dropped. And it just got lost in the shuffle for me. So I still haven't watched it yet. I still haven't watched that trailer yet. And I think it dropped yesterday. But still haven't watched it yet. But I'm excited to see it. But I haven't had a chance to put my eyes on it quite yet. Let's see. Dark Horizon 211 writes, hey, John, I have a Cinemia 3-movie card. What 3 movies would you recommend seeing in the month of September? I only know of Venom. That's in September. And I think Venom's actually October. If I'm not mistaken, Venom is October. I don't know. It would take too long. I'd have to sit here, pull up the list of all the movies coming out. So, you know what I will do, though? And I stopped doing these, but I think I should start doing them again. At the beginning of each month, I will do a top 10 movies or top 5 movies to see that month video. I used to do it before, and I don't know why I stopped. Because I liked doing them, and I think people liked watching them. But I just forgot to... I don't know if I forgot or I just decided to stop doing them, but I should start doing them again. So I'll tell you what, Dark Horizon, in honor of that question, I will make sure... Starting with July, because we're already into June. Starting with July, I will start doing those videos again of the top movies to see in this upcoming month. And I will have you in mind as I do my September list for sure. Let's see. Andrew Riaz writes, do you think Alden will return in the Boba Fett film? No, I don't think so. I don't think they'd do that. I don't know why you'd use up an actor's contract for that. So, no, I don't think... Look, it's certainly not impossible. It's not impossible. But, no, I'm going to guess not. Luna Comics writes, John, I wasn't sarcastic. I was serious. Well, if... Okay, I mean, if you're serious, I'd love to live in the world you live in. I really would. Matt Thornton writes, Just want to put this out there. Kelly Marie Tran, you are awesome, and those people who have been harassing you can rot in hell. Yeah, no kidding. Appreciate that, Matt. Thank you so much. Yes, you speak for a lot of us. Dakota Barber writes, when are you seeing Hereditary? Hoping to go see it tomorrow night. I'm probably hoping to see it this weekend. I've got a busy couple of days coming out, but I've been looking forward to this movie for months. It looks like a really new, edgy kind of horror movie. Dying to see it. Cannot wait. So hopefully this weekend sometime if I get the chance. Maurice Cook writes, pick a sword, the power sword from He-Man, Lion O's sword of Omen Thunder. Let me try this again, Maurice. Pick a sword, the power sword from He-Man, Lion O's sword of Omen Thunder, the Sun sword, John Blackstar, the Star sword, or Luke's lightsaber. Oh, if you ever, okay, no matter what list you put together, if one of those things is a lightsaber, I will take the lightsaber. You could say Holy Grail or lightsaber, I'm taking the lightsaber. Each time, every time, no questions asked, I am taking the lightsaber. So some impressive swords on that list for sure. But if you ever include the lightsaber on a list, I'm going for the lightsaber. Let's see. Another jump. Okay, here we go. Luna Comics writes, John, be careful what you say. That was offensive to Cousin Humpers. Now I'm joking. Very funny. Tacky175 or Tacky75 says, can you imagine Hiddleston as Thor? Well, like a lot of people still like don't realize Tom Hiddleston, who did a magnificent job playing Loki. You know how he got the role of Loki? He was this close to getting the role of Thor. Loki was auditioning for, and it came down to him and I believe Chris Hemsworth and I believe one other person. And I cannot remember who the third person was. But it came down to them for the role of Thor. And when they decided to go with Chris Hemsworth, but they were like, but we really like this Tom Hiddleston guy. What if we made him Loki? He's a great talent. We think he'd do this role great, blah, blah, blah. And we think him and Chris Hemsworth had really good chemistry together. And that's how he ended up getting the Loki role, was because he was there to get Thor. And he came close. Tom Hiddleston came close to being Thor. And he would have been a great Thor. I mean, because he's a great actor. He would have been a great Thor. And I'm sure he would have bulked up. And I'm sure they would have packed it on him and all that kind of stuff. Sure. And I'm sure he would have been a great Thor. I'm very happy with the way it worked out with Hemsworth being Thor and him playing Loki, who up until Thanos was the best villain we've ever had in the MCU. So I think it all worked out really well for everybody. But yeah, it is kind of crazy to think that Tom Hiddleston Loki came that close to being Thor. Let's see. Brass Drake writes, follow-up. Thought it was weird that the Hulkbuster armor made it to Wakanda and Cap's new shield didn't. But okay, well, but Cap never had a new shield. And remember, the Hulkbuster was also created by Bruce. Bruce created Hulkbuster. And remember, they went to Wakanda from the Avengers base. Where would the Hulkbuster armor be? It would have been at the Avengers base. Apparently, Cap's shield wasn't there, so that's fine. I'm sure Tony probably has that at home or something. He cries over it every night or something. But it would make sense that it would be there, and it would make sense for Bruce, knowing that he was having issues getting Hulk to come out, that he would decide, hey, there's this big thing I designed and built. I'm going to bring that with me. I've never used it, but I'll figure it out since I designed it and built it with Tony. So yeah, it made much more sense that they brought the Hulkbuster armor on the Quinjet to Wakanda. It wasn't sitting around waiting for him in Wakanda. I'm sure they brought it with them on the jet. But it would have been at the Avengers home base. Bruce was there. He decided to load it up on the Quinjet and bring it with him to Wakanda in case he needed it. So that actually made perfect sense to me. Kevin Campbell writes, what's next for the Alien franchise? Will we get a Covenant sequel, or is a reboot in order? Is the Disney merger putting a lot of things on hold? No, first of all, the Disney merger isn't putting anything on hold. That's become clear. Fox's and all their subsidiaries are pushing ahead, doing business as normal, because they just don't know if this merger is ever even going to happen, right? So Fox, we've seen that with their comic book movies and everything. They are just pushing ahead. They are pushing ahead, business as usual, until it's not. The problem is, let's see here, Alien Covenant box office. Here we go. So Alien Covenant at the box office just completely flopped, all right? Made $240 million worldwide. $240 million. That is a huge nosedive from the previous film as well. Nobody was interested in going to see it. I think people are aliened out. Now, what was the name of the... Hold on a second. Alien movies at the box office. Let's see. Prometheus. What did Prometheus do? Prometheus did $400 million worldwide. But it wasn't very good. I mean, some people really like it, and I respect that. In my opinion, it wasn't very good, but still. And then they came out with Alien Covenant, which I thought was pretty good. And it only made $240 million worldwide. So, I mean, I just think it's done. I think it's over. I think the Alien franchise is done, at least for a while. I don't think we're going to see another Alien film for a while. So, probably, maybe in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they'll reboot it. But I think that would be the next logical step, is reboot it, or just do what Terminator is doing and retcon all the previous movies and pretend like only Alien and Aliens actually happened and nothing else actually really happened. And then do your next film acting as if Aliens, Alien 2, was the last actual movie in your series. But I think it's going to be a number of years before that happens again. Again, with it tanking like that, the studio's not rushing to put another Alien film into production anytime soon. Let's see. Santez Henderson writes, "Hey John, finally got my wife to watch The Matrix. Awesome. Now how can I get her to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy?" Oh. Wow. I mean, first of all, it's difficult to say since I don't know your wife, right? So if I knew her, I could say, okay, this is the angle you take with her, right? Bribery might be one of them. But, I mean, just sit down with her one day with your tablet or something, and she says, "What's that you're looking at?" I said, "This is the list of all the Academy Awards that the various Lord of the Rings films have won. Look at that. Look at all these Academy Awards this series has won. Must be something to it, huh?" But also, I would think bribery. I find bribery works really well with wives. Sometimes it may cost you more than other things, but bribery works good. It's like, fine, you want to... I don't like sushi, but Ann does. It's like, fine, you want to... tell you what, we can go to the sushi place if you come with me to do this. Deal. So bribery. Bribery always works. Try that. But I would say this. If you get your wife to start watching with you, and if she doesn't like Fellowship of the Ring, like the first film, don't make her watch the other two. Because if she doesn't like the first one, she most likely will not like the next two. But I think, like most people, if you can get her to watch the first one, she'll probably be hooked. And with the way that the first one ends on that cliffhanger, she'll be like, "Where's the next one?" And then you pop in Two Towers, right? So that's what I would recommend. All right, let's see here. Where'd we go? Paul Gilmore writes, "Hey, John, question for you. I saw a movie last night with a credit written for the screen by. What is the difference between just written by and written for the screen?" I think it depends. That might just be, honestly, I might be wrong about this. I'm spitballing here. But what that sounds to me like is that, like, if the movie you saw was based on a pre-existing piece of material, like if it was based on a novel, or if it was based on a short story, or if it was based on something else, like a television show or whatever. So I don't know what movie it is you're talking about. But if that's the case, then it could just be semantics by saying written for the screen by so-and-so. That could just be their way of saying, hey, yes. Everybody knows that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings. So Lord of the Rings is not written by Peter Jackson and his writing partners. It's written by J.R.R. Tolkien, but written for the screen by, like the people who wrote the screenplay for the movie is written by. So again, I'm just spitballing here. I might be wrong, but it sounds to me like it's just a matter of semantics, just saying written for the screen by. So that suggests to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it suggests to me that whatever movie you saw was probably based on a novel or something like that. Again, here, I'm just spitballing here. If I knew the name of the movie, maybe it would help me out a little bit, but that's my best guess at this point. Patrick Conway writes, AM and TW gross 700 million. Marvel will have 4 billion. If you're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, if it grosses 700 million, that's a tall order. Because Ant-Man, the first one, I don't even think the first one made 600 million. I mean, it did okay. Did well at the box office for what it was made for, but I don't think it made 600 million. Ant-Man made 519 million, which made it profitable. I mean, it was plenty profitable because it was only a $130 million movie to make, so it was well profitable. 700 million may be a tall order, but it could get there. So if Ant-Man and the Wasp crosses 700 million, Marvel will have a $4 billion year. Yeah, that would be crazy. $4 billion year. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. Let's see. Just a couple more questions, guys. I got to cut today just a couple of minutes short. This one comes to us from Matthew Leach, who writes, when the Rocksteady Superman game comes out, will you do a gameplay review? I have never even heard of it. I've never even heard of it, so I cannot say. So I'm not going to say right now that, yeah, I'll do that because I've never even heard of the game. So maybe? Maybe. If enough of you guys think you want me to do a review for it, I'll do a review for it. Let me know. But as of right now, I'll say maybe. ZOMG Ruler writes, don't get why many say Snyder doesn't get the DC brand. Well, it's because a lot of people just haven't liked his movies. And if people don't like your movies, look, here's the thing. Some people equate that if they make movies they don't like, that means they don't get it. No, they get it. They just may not have put the right movie together. Whatever. People also think, oh, you got to get somebody who really knows the material. No. I've told the story all the time. I forget the guy's name, but the guy who directed the Dungeons & Dragons movie, which was horse shit piled on top of donkey shit, he was like the biggest Dungeons & Dragons nerd in the world. Huge Dungeons & Dragons geek. That didn't make the movie any better. So, but honestly, I don't know why they say he doesn't get. I think he does get the brand. He just made movies that a bunch of people didn't like. And I don't think one necessarily equates to the other. But that's just my opinion at any rate. Brands Drake writes, happy put both on plane in Homecoming, see ending. Okay, I didn't notice. I haven't paid attention. I'll go back and I'll keep an eye out for that the next time I watch it. But again, those aren't planes going to Wakanda. And the shield could go anywhere at any time. But I will check that out and see what it is you're referencing there. Final question of the day. Nathan Oswald writes, 2 missed opportunities in Deadpool 2. Not having Careless Whisper and not having the title be the untitled Deadpool sequel. No, that was definitely not a missed opportunity. That would have been a bad title. Nobody would have liked saying that. So that would have been I mean, it's funny to laugh at for a second, but for marketing points of view, which is what titles are for, people would not like saying the untitled Deadpool sequel. People wouldn't have liked that. So it's fun for a joke, but I don't think it's something they could have actually done. And Careless Whisper, I mean, you don't play, I don't know, they did in the first movie. You don't have to play it again. So I respect that you would have gotten a big kick out of that. And I think probably a bunch of people would. Personally, I don't feel like I was missing it from Deadpool 2, but that's just my personal perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just kind of the way I see it. Okay, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me here. It is always a huge ton of fun to have you guys here with me and talking movies and all that kind of stuff. Thank you for being here with me along the ride. Listen, that will do it for me for today. I will be back again tomorrow, of course, with the John Campea Show. Make sure you guys are here to join me then. That's it for now. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.